big layout designed for one-man operation? How does that work? Let me explain. As most of you all know by now, my DC analogue Yarslow model railway comprises a double track main line with a junction serving a branch and a semi-independent city terminus with its own set of storage sidings. And all this has been designed to be operated by just me. Well, how do I do that? Well, the answer is that the layout, first and foremost, is broken up into 14 different sections. This is the up line, which is broken down into 3. Up 1, as it's called, comes out of the storage sidings through middle junction and round onto the scenic section until it gets to about this point here. And just as a reminder of where the break comes, I've given myself a little reminder for the minute on the front of the board. There's the break between up 1 and up 2. Up 2 then runs right through the junction with the branch, past the signal box, through the platforms, and comes to a stop at the footbridge. That's why the footbridge is there. And then up 3 runs through the curve, past Yarslow South, back into the storage sidings, and Yarslow 3 actually covers all of the storage sidings tracks. Down 1 does the same thing in the opposite direction, so the exit from the storage sidings, past the permanent way yard, this is the inside track, the down line, under the bridge, through the platforms, and down 1 stops at the end of the platform where the signal and the barrow crossing is. And again, I've done myself a little reminder on the front of the board. Down 2 is again this middle section, so the shunting bit into the yard, the junction with the branch, and this one goes all the way along past the exit from the storage sidings under the scenic section, and to that point there you can see marked on the board. And then D3, down 3, comes through middle junction, round, and again serves all of the storage sidings, all of the down storage sidings. Now the whole of Trinity Square is a section. It comes from the 2 approach tracks from middle junction, under the bridge, through the station throat, past the loco shed here, and then runs down and covers all of the platforms with the exception of the sidings on the left hand side. Those 3 sidings are a separate section called Trinity Square Yard, and they include the head shunt here. Now the inside tracks of middle junction that come from Trinity Square, that's the inside of these 3 lines, are a separate section called Trinity Square Storage, and that covers this running line and all of the storage sidings, both here on the left and these ones down at the far end. The next section connected to Trinity Square Storage is Storage Loco, and this is where the engines are held waiting to go onto those storage tracks to haul the trains out. Next comes Yarslow Yard. Now that covers all of the sidings except this one. I'll come on to that in a minute, but it covers the exchange sidings, the yard itself, and all the way down to the exit out onto the main line. Now this track here is actually part of the permanent way yard called Permanent Way, and that is the head shunt for all of the sidings here. There's 3 sidings, the old wagon works now taken over by the permanent way department. This is the traverser that is called High Marsh, and it's the start of the branch. So we've got Blowick Lane here, all the way down past the bridge, through Butt Bump and Mumby, and then running through the non-scenic section over the top of Middle Junction, round back onto the scenic section at Yarslow, and coming to a stop right next to the turnout that serves the loco yard right there. The next section is called branch loco and deals with the loco shed and the rest of the branch down the incline until we get past this signal, not the main line, but the bit that goes up to the siding behind the signal box. And those 14 sections are detailed on the master cab control panel that can allocate any one of those 14 sections to any one of the controllers around the layout. But why have I done that? So working on the principle that you control a train from the point at which it arrives, I'm going to take controller H here on the branch and I'm going to use the master cab control panel to take over Yarslow Yard where this train is sitting, and that gives me the ability to take all this track here, and then I'm going to take down to and up to, which gives me the ability to cross the main line using the 2 single slips, and then I'm going to take branch loco, which gets me up the incline past the engine shed, and then I'm going to take branch, which gives me the ability to run my train right through Butter Bump, right along the branch, right through Blowick Lane and into the traverser, which is called High Marsh. And I can do all that on one controller. So this is a close-up of one section of the master cab control panel. This is the switch for Trinity Square, and you can see that Trinity Square can be allocated to any one of the 10 controllers. That's A right round to K. I've left L as a spare just in case I need to add another controller at some point in the future. So those 10 controllers are situated strategically around the layout, and whilst it's easy to think that a controller controls a section, that isn't really the case. But A and B are located here at Yarslow, convenient for the main line. C is a walkabout convenient for Yarslow Yard. D happens to be near the permanent way yard, but can also serve the Trinity Square storage sidings if needs be. E and F are at the storage yard side, and again available for mainline use. And G is a walkabout convenient for the Trinity Square storage or the storage loco yard. H is convenient for the branch. J is situated here at Trinity Square, and K is handy for the Trinity Square yard. Now let me take a side turning here onto timetables. You'll know that when the layout was designed, there was an operational design element to it that included the timetable and how the thing was actually going to run, and that was based very much around working timetables that you can get hold of, and of course you can create your own working timetable. This is a very old version before some of the names on the layout was changed, but it does show a full timetable as to what trains are going to run and when. Now the structure of my timetable, and this is designed by me for me, is to have a number of events, and those events could be running a stopping passenger train, it could be some shunting at Yarslow, some work on the branch, perhaps some work at Trinity Square, and each of those events is going to punctuate the series of trains that are going to run around the main line. I have quite a list of mainline trains to run, so that will be all the through stuff that doesn't trouble the platform staff at Yarslow on the main line, and I'll simply carry out an event and then swap the mainline trains between events. There's also a whole bunch of cartridges and other trains as well, but I'll come on to the timetable in more detail in another video. So a whole series of events controlled at different points in the layout whilst I watch mainline trains run around, or I sit having a cup of coffee watching mainline trains run around. Or if I've got a few mates over, then we can all take a different control point and somebody can operate the storage, somebody Yarslow, somebody the branch, somebody Trinity Square, and so on and so forth. So there's flexibility written in, but more importantly, the whole thing can be worked by me, for me, and I can have a whole lot of fun in the process. Isn't that what we do it for? Well, I do. I'll see you soon.